So got to Spokane safe and sound yesterday. Kind of a medium day, kind of hot for the last cold the first part, kind of coming up through James Pass. Is that what
Stevens Pass.
Stevens
Pass.
No, sorry, James, not you. Steven.
Yeah, it was definitely chilly coming through that mountain pass. It was fairly early.
10 degrees is what he hit. We got 10 or 11 degrees is where we hit. So we did have to stop and put on more gear. And then got into Spokane. I chilled out. You went spent some time with your friends. Had a nice evening with them.
Yeah, it turns out Spokane, a beautiful community. They took some time to show me around the waterfront and the falls and stuff.
Cool.
Absolutely beautiful. So we left out of Spokane this morning. We've made our way north on 395. And we just took a little left-hand turn right now. We're on a small little trail called Boulder Creek Road through the Colville National Forest. Yep. It'll push us over towards the port of entry we want to have crossing into Canada. Yeah. Of course, we're going to head off into Kelowna for a quick pit stop, and then make our way around to Vernon, and then up through Lumbee, Nakusp, like to take that Nakusp loop. So. End of the day is Fauquier, BRC, the Needles Ferry, on the other side of there, in the town I can't figure out how to pronounce, but nonetheless, right on Little Arrow Lake, I believe it's called. Okay. So beautiful BC wilderness. We'll be back on the Canadian side of the line here in a hour and a bit, and it should be good. It's been beautiful so far. We were just commenting between ourselves here that it's been a little bit less technical, a little bit higher pace, but still beautiful scenery. So you can kind of take it all in a little bit more without worrying about a 20-mile-an-hour curve being the next thing over the hill.
Scraping floorboards and making sure you're not running into somebody or something. And I have to say, yet another trip where we didn't really have any close calls. Like I think people are maybe more used to motorcycles kind of in the US because there's just more of them and longer season for it. But definitely have to keep our head on a swivel, but it's gone really well, no incidents, and I hope I didn't just jinx ourselves, but we should be okay.
And I think really the fact that we pick state routes and 3-digit highways often really does bode well for the success that we have in terms of being able to ride issue free. Yeah. The interstate yesterday wasn't bad, but it was sure a lot of stop and go, right? Yeah. And
but it was rush hour traffic.
It was. Yeah, we came right through Spokane pretty much at quitting time. Yep. And there's a little bit of traffic going ripping by here.
That's about what we see. That's
it. That's all we see.
If you stood here, you'd see a couple vehicles go by maybe every half hour, maybe.
Yeah, that's sure all it feels like.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, okay, back on a little bit more mountain roads, and then across the border, and back into Canada.
Perfect.
Back at her. Looks like I'm gonna get on. The lineup looked pretty long. Wasn't too sure how big this ferry was. I lost neutral. Sorry. So made it through Kelowna last night, and Cameron stopped in and had a little visit with his sister for a few hours. And while he did that, I just moved on to Fauquier, okay.
British Columbia. Yeah. It's easier to say Needles because it's the other side of the ferry.
It's the Needles Highway.
But we were on Little Arrow Lake, and we spent the evening at the Arrow Lake Motel. Beautiful little motel here, tucked in the hills of the mountains.
Nice little area, right? It's just your kind of mom and pop little motel, and the lady who, one of the owners, she makes homemade cabbage rolls and pierogies, which we had last night because there's no restaurants around here or anything really to get. So we partook of that, and so had a good sleep last night, and we are ready for the rest of the Needles Highway.
Yeah, so I guess the locals refer to this as the Nakusp Loop. So we're going to ride north to Nakusp, and then down towards Kaslo, and then we're going to cut across on the 31A to New Denver, and then we slide down into Balfour. We'll take that ferry again that we've been on a couple of times, too many times maybe. We are going to have a quick stop on the Crawford Bay side of that ferry, and just kind of take a minute to reflect on the crash site from 21, because we are going to be right past there. And from there down into Creston and head east, young man, we're headed home. So we're going to see where the day brings us. We're thinking, you know, Pincher Creek, maybe Lethbridge.
Probably Lethbridge.
That's kind of the goal, is to make tomorrow less of a marathon to kind of get home in a reasonable hour. We don't want to be rolling in at 9 o'clock to have to be up to go to work type of thing. So if we can get...
you have to do mountain twisties for a week.
Yeah.
That last... flat pancake getting home.
It's a bit of a grind.
It grates on you.
The shorter it is, the better it is. So
not the good kind of grind. Not the floorboard grinding.
Pegs,
No, none of that. So anyway, okay, let's go see some more beautiful highway.
I love it. Let's go. right, everyone, we've arrived at the Balfour Bay ferry crossing, heading over to the east to the Crawford side. Last time we were here was in 21, and we were in a U-Haul truck going to recover my motorcycle after I put it in the cabbage. And prior to that, my previous trip over it was in the back of an ambulance after my accident. So real blessed and fortunate to be back here on two wheels again, taking this in. Once we come off the fair on the other side, we are going to have a quick visit of the crash site there and just kind of take a look, reflect a little bit, and then head on down into Creston. So Balfour Bay.
I had a long ride when he was in the ambulance following it. I had to wait. I waited for the next ferry just to sort of calm down, and then it rained and poured all the way back up to the hospital. And I think I was there for maybe an hour by the time you saw a doctor and got x-rays and were cleared.
Yeah, they x-rayed me, they ultrasounded me, and inside of 2 hours I was released. It was like, they were real good down there. It was a super great staff at the Nelson hospital down there. So.
Our first lesson in work the problem.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah, you're alive to work it, then just work it, because everything else is pretty arbitrary.
Yep. All right, we'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side, yeah.
So we just got off the Crawford Bay ferry. Like we said, we're revisiting sort of a challenging history in our motorcycling together, just up the hill from the ferry, where Cam got a little wide in the corner, hit the guardrail, and ended up tumbling over top. His bike did some cartwheels here and landed right here. Right where Cam is standing right now is where his front and back tires were, and he was laying in that brush right underneath there.
Right here.
Yeah, exhaust was barely touching your leg, right on your chaps.
Yeah,
it was a good thing.
The bike was on top of me. I remember I could feel the weight of it on my chest, but it wasn't the whole bike, and it's because the wheels were resting on top. Part of the weight of the bike was on this log, and I was kind of down in here. I was just taking a look. We did a pretty good job of picking up all of my broken plastics and miscellaneous, but I was wondering if I could catch one little glimmer of maroon paint on that particular machine.
Yeah,
but I don't see. And you know what? I kind of thought it would be a little bit more emotional, but it's more reminiscent. You know, I'm thankful that I'm here to look at it again. You know,
I think you should take a little piece of the bark off that log and hang it up in your shop or something.
Yeah.
That log definitely saved Cam from a lot of extra injury, I think. And it was like somebody picked up that bike and laid it down on top of that log for him to be underneath it. And I don't think you were there for more than a minute, less than a minute, by the time me and one other guy that saw it raced over and lifted the bike up, and he was able to scramble out. So yeah, this is
pretty wild.
Good lessons for both of us to keep your head on a swivel and ride within your abilities, well within your abilities, and just, and bad things can happen even when you are riding within your abilities, definitely. But luckily we both came out of this unscathed and learned a few good lessons for it. Anyway, no more of these. So our rides here in Lethbridge last night about, I guess, 7:30 or so, and kind of got to the hotel, quickly checked in, and then they recommended supper at a local casino, just actually over my shoulder here, in the dining room there. And actually, it wasn't too bad. Had a pretty good meal there. I think we both had a good time. Bittersweet day today. This is day 10. Yeah. Last day, bittersweet day of our trip. Where bitter that we have to go home and end our trip. Sweet that we had a terrific time, good memories, and then we get to see our wives and our kids and get back to reality again. And
yep.
And then. Probably tomorrow morning we will start planning for next year.
It's, as they say, it's a sickness. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no cure for this one yet, so not really looking for one.
Nope.
So yeah, just sort of the long, boring ride down the prairies back to Saskatchewan. So
Yeah, so we we started out this this adventure in really good shape. You know, we were on these videos every day, twice a day, with some updates in between. Yeah. You know, the last couple of days we've arrived in late and been hungry, and you know, just kind of looking to unwind a little bit. So yesterday we obviously bid farewell to the mountains. Yeah. It was a good ride though. We came across a little bit of forest fire smoke around Sparwood, BC.
Just small, like just like little embers burning. It seemed like they were just sort of probably not smoke jumpers, but firefighters up in the hills with the axes and pitchforks and hose and stuff.
Nothing serious,
no,
thankfully, right? No, otherwise, that being said, there was a significant amount of construction in that Crow's Nest Pass that was slowed us down a little bit. Otherwise, roads were good. You know, no major hazards or anything. Yesterday's ride from where we left all the way down to really till you come out of the Crow's Nest Pass. I was going to even say, I don't even mind I really enjoy the scenery coming through that Crow's Nest area, right up to the Frank Slide area.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It was absolutely gorgeous, and then of course into the foothills and the prairie of Alberta. Yeah. So gorgeous.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the end of her. Have a great day.
Okay, talk to you later. So Sunday here, 2:28 in the afternoon. Just arrived back in Regina. Safe and sound, other than a lot of wind from Swift Current on, and then especially high winds from Moose Jaw on. We made it back. And so Cameron did one extra little ride out of Bend, Oregon. And so the mile-kilometer count for you is just over 6,000. So 6,060 kilometers for him. And I didn't do that one ride because I stayed back to do some work, and so I'm at
58.56.
58.56.
So I still think that's a record for you too. I think our biggest one before was 57.30 something. I'd have to go double check.
Yeah, I think I'd have to look at the last video from last year. Last year was, I think,
was the biggest to date.
Biggest to date until this year. So holy smokes, we had tons of fun. Wore rain gear more than we probably would want to, but we were glad to have it, and certainly rather be riding with rain gear than not riding.
I was going to say, wet on a motorcycle is still better than sitting in the office.
Guaranteed.
So yeah, you know, I guess kind of a highlight trip. We you know, the recap on it is stuff we've already talked about. You know, the ability to revisit the crash site from a couple of years ago was a highlight moment. The ability to take up the last whatever couple hundred miles of the Pacific Coast Highway that we didn't get to finish last year due to my mechanical issues. You know, the ability to see some friends and family along the way, and then all the people that we met. There was lots of people that are real friendly in parking lots and gas stations, and the miles of curvy Oregon highway. You know, I think the takeaway from this, the scenic byways.
Scenic byways, that's my highlight. Absolutely my highlight. Every one of those scenic byways, like you were clipping along. Of course, Cam's doing all the planning and stuff, so I don't even know what's going on out front. And then we pull off this massive, busy freeway onto just this tree-covered Xanadu of a motorcycle road, fully paved or not, just epic. And mountain views and curvy roads in like pretty awesome conditions. So, yeah.
It was a treat. So
for sure,
it's definitely feeling very blessed and fortunate to take part in these every year for the last few years, and already you know, looking forward to the next one as it comes about.
So. Okay, and if you've watched every part of this whole series for this year's trip, thank you so much for watching. And we're making these for us, not for you. This is kind of our scrapbook for the future. So, but if you're enjoying it, that's great too.
There you go.
Cool.
Take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.